If you're not willing to ask yourself the questions that you probably don't like the answer to, then this video definitely is not for you. But before we get into that, my name's Christian Hill. I'm the founder of Ready for Anything. Over the last 8 years of coaching, I've transformed hundreds of lives. And over the last 3 years of running Ready for Anything, I've helped clients get to over 300 separate events, which is absolutely incredible. And mad to even say it out loud, even every single time I say it. However, before we get into this, I want you to make sure that you've subscribed to the channel. So please do that right now. You need to stop telling yourself little mad stories that don't actually align with the type of results that you're actually trying to achieve. So what does that actually look like? Let's say, for example, you've trained like a bodybuilder without being a bodybuilder for a very, very long period of time, without realizing it's become a big part of your identity, who you are, your personality. You're the guy or the girl at work that brings in the Tupperware. You're the person that's the Mr. and Mrs. Fitness. You're the person that lives in the gym, right? And that goes so deep into your personality without even realizing, so much so that like your morning routines, the time that you train, how you train becomes so deeply embedded into who you are that you're like starting to get into, let's say, for example, you've got a half marathon locked in at the tail end of the year. You've got something that you've got locked in. And someone asks you like, oh, what are you doing right now? And you're like, oh, like, I'm just doing a wee bit of running. And it's like, you're actually locked in for a half marathon and you're chasing down like a sub 140. That's a pretty significant thing for someone that's not actually done it before. But you not even realizing and not really acknowledging the type of shift and change you're going through begins to downplay it. And then before you know it, you start acting in line with that person. And it doesn't actually allow you to go all in your goals. And you actually treat it like someone that's kind of pussyfooting about it. That's what kind of happens. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. Serious results require serious people. If you're not talking about your results in a way that you are passionate about them and people can see that, you're going to play to that standard. Now, there's times and places that you're not going to just be shouting this from the rooftops and telling random people, but think about it, guys, right? Think about your early stages of training, right? It was probably very similar. You're probably very shy. There was probably a lot of insecurities around it. This is just the next level. So it's so important that you really begin to acknowledge that your level of self-talk, how you speak to yourself, how you speak to other people, and the way that you go about it and project that to the world is really going to be what becomes your reality. So stop downplaying what you're doing. Stop speaking in a way that doesn't align with the type of goals you're after. Because this is what happens, guys. People do this and then they get frustrated by the lack of results. They get frustrated by the lack of progress. And it's like, can you be surprised? Do you sound like someone that's taking this serious? And you're like, yeah, no, I'm taking it serious. Like, I care about this. It's important to me. It's like, yeah, you care about it and it's important to you, but how are you going about it? Look at the way that you're speaking. Like, are you talking like a winner or are you talking like a loser? So guys, remember, like, you need to make sure that you're speaking in a way that aligns with the type of lifestyle, goals, and results that you're actually trying to achieve. Number 2, you need to take off the rose tinted glasses. This is something that Ailey actually said yesterday. One of my closest friends is actually out here in Cyprus right now, and we're having a really good conversation. And Ailey's like, people always look at life through the rose tinted glasses. And what this actually means, if anyone's not familiar with it, is that they almost romanticize that they have done more than they actually have. Something that's really opened my eyes up to this, 2 things actually. So this year, I've been journaling on and off for years, writing down my thoughts, collecting my thoughts, writing down what I'm grateful for. And I've done it on and off for years. Like, it's been consistent, but it's never been congruent in my week. There's times where I do it more, times where I do it less. But this year, at the start of 2025, I made a commitment to journal every single day, a minimal effective dosage. I'll always write down at least 3 things I'm grateful for. I'll always plan out my week and I'll always plan out my day. This is stuff that I've done all the time, but there might be some little gaps in it, but now it's every single day. We're currently on the 10th of July right now, and I have not missed this year. I'm proud of it, right? But the reason why I'm telling you this is because I now have years and years and years of books that I've journaled into. I've written things down for where I'm at certain points in my life. And I was actually going back to some of my journals in January and February and just looking at some of the stuff that I wrote down. And it's so powerful because I've taken the time to actually put down what I'm experiencing, how I've felt when I've woken up. So I can actually go back and look at the 10th of January, 7 months ago, and see exactly how I felt when I woke up. It's mad, right? But what it's really taught me is that the way that we often remember things isn't usually how they went down. And where I learned this lesson even more is since 2023, something we encourage all of our clients to do is do race logs. Now, a race log is the day after, 2 days after the event, write down exactly how it went about, how you felt in the morning, race day nutrition, lessons, how it felt. because the one thing that we have done since we've done this, me and Ailey have done it consistently since High Rocks Milan in 2023, every single event between then and now, written down a full debrief. And something Ailey actually shared recently was when she went to do Boston Marathon and she'd done London Marathon last year, she kept talking about how good the marathon was and how easy it felt compared to Manchester. And then she went back and read her race journal, and she was like, that was still a brutal race. I got a massive PB, but she was just measuring it against a really bad race. And because it was better than the really bad race, she just started to romanticize the idea that London Marathon was almost easy, and it wasn't. And I've had this so many times, guys, especially I remember last year when I'd done an ultra marathon for the first time. Loads of folk were like, that'll be easy for you. You've done Ironman, you've done Keltman, you've done all this, you've done that. And I'm like, it's an ultra marathon. Like, it's easy and ultra marathon shouldn't be in the same sentence as each other, right? It's an ultra distance event. That's brutal. So you need to remember, guys, like when it comes to actually making tons of progress, is you need to stop telling yourself that you were better than what you were, because it's holding you back. And what you then start to do is you start to romanticize the idea that you have done more than what you've actually done, achieved more than what you've actually achieved. And then you don't show up like a beginner. You show up like someone that's actually kind of playing it safe. Like you're not actually got that white belt mentality. You're not looking for ways to be better. You're going in with a bit of an ego. So you need to stop looking through your fitness journey through rose tinted glasses and understand that if you've never trained and done well as a hybrid, there's a reason for it. You're probably cutting corners. You're probably letting yourself off the hook. And it's not that you're doing bad by any means. You're just not turning up like the newbie that you are, training in this modality that you need to be to get the type of results that you want. So get the white belt on and start actually treating it like it's new, because it is new. If you've never raced, you've never competed in events, you've never actually trained in this modality, fueled in this way, it's new to you. Even though that you've maybe done it from like a bodybuilding standpoint, like humor the fact that this is new. Just because you've been training for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years doesn't mean that you know this stuff, right? And that can get in your way and actually keep you the same. So you end up actually turning up as the person that's the heavy bodybuilder that's just aesthetics driven. Like we see them at High Rocks, guys, the folk that look like they're going to fly around the thing, but they're actually there just for the pictures, and they end up running around it at like a 7.5 minute kilometer by the last kilometer because they're absolutely dying. They've not actually trained for it, right? So understand that you need to be treating yourself like that person if you want the type of results for that person. Number 3 is the no more, no less principle. So I've spoken about Dan Reeves before. Dan Reeves was my coach when I went through the Keltman, and he basically always spoke about like when it says 70K cycle, 70K, not 69K, not 68K, not 65K, not 75K, 70K. And he would always just repeat this stuff over and over, and it just stuck with me. And as I started to do bigger preparations, bigger events, more challenging stuff that required a lot more discipline, there was so much room for me to cut corners with. And for a very long period of time, I convinced myself that I was following the plan, but I wasn't following the plan. I was following about 70 or 80% of the plan. Guys, see your plan that you have for the goal that you're chasing. If you've agreed this with your coach, if you've got it online, you've got it through an app or whatever it is there for a reason, and it is that way for a reason. If it's a 5-day plan, it's done over 5 days on the days. It's not done over 3 days squeezed in or half a day where you miss a bit of it. It's done over the days that it's meant to be done. If it needs to be changed, you then need to discuss that and then essentially reevaluate the situation so you can get the most out of it. So many folk are trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole, trying to essentially get away with less, but not thinking they're doing less. They're like, it's fine. I got most of the running. It was an hour run, but I done 50 minutes. That's fine. There's going to be some circumstances where being consistently good is better than being inconsistently great. But if your weeks are consistently being undershot by 20 to 30% of what you're meant to be doing, you're not going to get the type of results that you actually want. Now, if you're at a point where it's actually too much and you're just not admitting that, you need to drop the ego and reassess it and come up with a new program that's still going to allow you to capitalize on the amount of time that you have and the skill that you have and the ability that you have. Because guys, a lot of this stuff isn't just physical. It's not just about can you do the training. You're building yourself up mentally so that you have the resilience. And a lot of people, guys, just don't trust themselves. They don't trust themselves enough to do stuff like this. And when you step into a big preparation, a big event, or a big challenge, it really holds a mirror up to like who you are, where your weaknesses at, and essentially the areas that you still have a lot of work to do. So remember, guys, no more, no less, follow the plan. Number 4, you need to set your meal timing up for someone that's hybrid training, not bodybuilding. This is probably one of the biggest rookie errors. I see so many people coming over from aesthetics focused training to hybrid style training. Now, again, there's context to this, how much are you training, what's your experience, what's your ability. But let's imagine you've been someone that's trained 5-6 days a week religiously, 1 hour a day, you do your cardio, whatever it is, train fasted, push your meals back to later in the day so you've got a smaller window so you can stay a bit leaner, high protein, low carb. That's fine. But see, as soon as you start introducing a lot more aerobic performance, anaerobic performance, high intensity work, threshold work, if you continue eating like that, it's going to chew you up and spit you out. And I'm telling you right now, but you will convince yourself because you're doing it that it's fine. But what will actually happen is you'll be doing a lot of sessions where you're underfueled, you're underprepared, and you probably find that halfway through these AMRAPs, runs, threshold runs, interval runs, your paces are dropping off, your power's dropping off. And it's not because you lack the fitness, it's because you've not fueled properly. And a lot of people spend a very long period of time turning up, putting in blood, sweat, and tears into their training, grafting their ass off, dedicating themselves to it, but they're not recovering properly and they're not going into those sessions properly fueled, which means that 35 to 45 minutes into an intense workout, you will drop off. And you might be sitting right now going, Christian, you are speaking to my soul. It's because you're not fueling properly. That's it. Now, at the beginning, when you're maybe not as fit and this stuff is new, it's always going to feel hard. It still feels hard for me. Like it never gets easier. You just get better. But there's going to come a point where you're going to start losing so much power across the board that you will start to convince yourself that it's hybrid style training that's getting you skinny. It's not. It's mismanagement of fueling that's getting you skinny. I've done a video on this before and it's like I really broke this down. But if you do not adapt your nutrition to hybrid style training and try to eat like a bodybuilder when you're not training like a bodybuilder anymore, you just get subpar results and you end up being the guy or the girl that's slogging away through the workouts at the back of the group, feeling heavy. But yeah, you're still jacked, yeah, you're still lean, but you need to trust the process. There's a lot of fear around this as well, guys, about leaning into new stuff. You just need to trust it, and I'm telling you, you will not look back. And number 5 really ties into the last one. There is a lot of fear around new modalities and new ways of training. Fear that you're going to lose muscle, fear that you're going to lose strength, fear that you're going to lose who you were and you're going to end up a certain way. Like, it's inevitable that there's going to be somewhat change. But if you follow the plan when it comes to your routines, your training, your nutrition, and you adhere to it, you will get the results. The mistake that a lot of people make is that they don't truly lean in. They lean into about 70% of the process, and then they don't get the results they want, and they go, that didn't work for me. It's not that it didn't work for you. You did not make that work for you. And you need to let go. Like, you do not need to be training tons of junk volume. You do not need to be stacking things on top of it. You need to remember at the beginning, you're not going to be as fit. I've mentioned this already, right? If this is new to you, you've not came from a sporting background, you've mainly bodybuilded, you've mainly just focused on aesthetics, it's going to be hard at the beginning, right? It's going to feel heavy, your recovery is going to feel it, you'll probably be training harder than you need to be training and stuff. That will affect your recovery the following day, that will affect session quality. It's going to take time for you to figure it out. But you need to stop just stacking things on top of what you're doing, because if you're not doing the stuff you're meant to be doing well, why would you stack more stuff on top of it? So your program might only have 2 or 3 weight training sessions in per week and like 9 to 12 sets per workout. And you're looking at that going, that's full body. That's not enough volume. You need to like go like, right, well, what is it I'm like? What's the real problem here? The real problem here is that you're just a bit uncomfortable and you're not trusting the new way. The real problem is that, what does that hold a mirror up to you? It holds a mirror up that you've probably not been training hard enough. You've probably not been training effectively. You've probably been doing a lot more than you need to do to actually get the results that you currently have. And it's just making you realize that you need to turn up a bit harder. You need to turn up and think a bit more. You need to ask more of yourself. And it's because it's an effort, guys. And a lot of folk want the path of least resistance. They want it to be easier. And it's just not the case. So guys, understand that when you do anything new, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be uncomfortable. But why should it be easy? Why should it be easy? Think about it. If everything worth doing was easy, nobody would want to do it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you took a lot away from it. As always, leave your comments in the thoughts. Leave your comments in the thoughts below. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I keep doing this. You can actually see how dyslexic I actually am. It's mad, right? I always say things backwards, right? My head is mad inside. But yeah, guys, like if you obviously took a lot away from this, please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and please hit subscribe to the channel. Like, as I said, I love making these videos for you guys. I'm getting lots of good feedback from them, and I just want to keep bringing more and more and more. I'm currently looking at the ones that are performing the best. Why are they performing the best? Using ChatGPT to figure it out so that I can really get down to the bottom of it. But the best way that I'm going to figure that out is if you leave comments for me for what you want to see more of on the channel. Anyway, guys, see you later. Goodbye.